All right, so this is Math 15. Math 15. Number Sense 2. Unit 2, and it's Lesson 1, Rounding. Now, often, as a result of a calculation, or a result of a calculation can have too many decimals, okay? Or many decimals. And it's important to be able to round to the correct place in math and science. So first we have to think about place value when we're rounding, because you might be asked to round to a certain place value. And what that's talking about is if we're looking at the number, which is the digit that is in the place value. So we have to know where tens are and ones and hundreds and hundredths and tenths and thousandths, okay? Now, for each of them, the center point is the decimal, okay? So here we're going down for the tenths and then the hundredths, etc. And in this direction, we're looking at the ones, the tens, the hundreds, etc. Okay? So the decimal is your meeting point. Okay? So let's take a look at this number here. We have the number 162.587. We want to identify the digit in each of the following place values. So in our hundreds, well, we're looking at the hundreds column, and that would be a 1. Our tens would be the 6. That would be, we've got 60 there. Our ones would be a 2. Then we have our decimal, and then we have our tenths, which is a 5, and our hundredths, which is an 8, and our thousandths, which is a 7. So it's important to kind of know where all of those numbers fall, okay, in terms of their place value. Okay, now, rounding steps. Identify the place value you're rounding to. Underline that digit. That will help you, okay? The neighboring digit to the right tells us what to do. So we look to the right of that digit. If to the right it's 0 to 4, it stays the same. We do not change anything. And we drop all the rest of the digits after that indicated place value. If it's 5 to 9, we round up by 1. So we increase the digit in the indicated place value by 1, okay? And we drop the rest of the digits after the indicated value. To round to the nearest tenth, for example, look at the value in the hundredths to the right, okay? So right is that way, as opposed to the left, which is this way, okay? And then decide to round up or leave the same. So let's follow this procedure. It says round the following to the nearest whole number. So if it's wanting to the whole number, that would be to the ones, okay? So we're going to underline the place value, and we're going to look at the number to the right. Now the number to the right of the 4 here is a 6. It is greater than 5, so it's between 5 and 9. So we're going to round up that 4, and we would round it to a 5. Okay? Here, we're rounding to the nearest whole number, which is our ones. We look to the left. Well, to the left we have 4. It is between 0 and 4, so the number 3 stays the same. Okay? Here, we're going to underline our ones column. It's a 0, but we're going to look to the number to the right. The number to the right is a 9, so it's going to round up our number here, so it would be 121. Okay? Now, we don't put a decimal and other zeros because that would defeat the purpose of rounding to the ones, okay? Because that would be saying something very different. Next one, round to the nearest tenth. Now notice, it says tenth, right? So tenth, if it's got the TH, it means it's it's one of those decimal places. So let's underline our tenths. Our tenths are right here. Sorry, I need the right pen. Okay, we're going to look to the number to the right, which in this case is 8, and it's greater than 5, or 5 or greater, so we round it up. So this number would be 165.3. Here, we're looking at the tenths. It's a 2 again, but the number to the right of it is a 4. So it doesn't change anything. So we would have 63.2. Okay, the 2 stays there. Okay, and here, sorry, we're looking at the tenths, so we're going to underline that number in the tenths column. In this case is a 9. Then we're going to look at the number to the right of the 9. It's a 5. It's between 5 and 9, so we round up. Now, what happens here? When we round up, it rounds this up to 10. Well, that means we have a 1 there. And in this case, we would put a 0 because we're rounding to the 10th. So we need a number in the 10th spot. Okay? Alrighty. Round to the nearest hundredth. Okay? Again, we have the THs, so that means we're looking to the right of the decimal. So let's underline our hundredths. It's a 2 here. Okay? We're going to look at the number to the left, or to the right, sorry. It's a 3. It is less than less than 5, right? So it'll be 1000.12. Okay, let's look at this one. Hundredths, there's a 6. And we're going to look at the number to the right. It's a 5, so it will round it up. Okay, so we'll get 38.27. And then our last one here, it's this 9 here. We look at the number to the right. It's going to round it up. Again, it's going to change it to a 10, which is going to round everything up, because that will then change the next 9, and it will round up. So we will get 17.00. So it can be kind of tricky when you have those 9s. You kind of have to watch what's happening. But because that 1 9 turns into a 10 and then it rounds up the next one, we get 1700. Okay, so it's going to have kind of a cascading effect to the 6. We do still need to put the 2 decimal places because we have to round it to the 100th. So we have to have something in that 100th column. Okay, so that's rounding, quick and dirty. So you've got an assignment to practice. So have at it.